Hello there and good morning. It's Psychic Cynthia here, or good afternoon or good evening. I'm out in the garden today harvesting, and I've been harvesting the wild plants as I mentioned earlier. These are going to make some nice food dishes. Uh, Fresh salad and cooked greens, lovely cooked greens. That's lamb's quarter and purslane, in case you're wondering. And yes, I did do an earlier video. I'll put a link for you to check that out. But what I wanted to talk to you about, because we're in the harvest season, at least here where I'm at, and we are running about a month ahead. Things ran very early this year. It's mid to almost getting towards late July here. And yeah, it feels like a month ahead, like mid to late August. So got to get on it. And got to collect, nature's bounty that she's offering to us. Um, and I grow mostly flowers for the flower essences and just plants for vibration. I work in the psychic and magical and herbal, so I do grow tea plants as well, a little food plants, but nature provides me these wonderful greens that I don't even have to plant, so that's awesome. Um, and of course, we have tomatoes and we had peaches. Uh, the peach tree I really do love to grow for its flower essence, but the peaches were fantastic this year. First year we had a lot, so uh, I'll have to. Well, I can't do a video on that because it's already done. Yeah, it's already done. Peaches are supposed to start really on in August, and it's mid to late July. It's already done. It's been done for a week. So yeah, we had some peach pies. So lovely. Um, but anyway, I've been harvesting wild greens, and when you harvest, okay, if you have, a garden, or you're just harvesting wild plants from your yard, or maybe you're going out into the wild and harvesting. I really like to harvest from my own area. Okay, I do want to say that just as a side note. Okay, um, it's okay if you have to go out far from home to harvest. I mean, especially if you need the medicine of the plant. I understand. Um, be very cautious with that. Be very respectful. You're going into unknown territory. That is not your territory. That is not your land. Please do not have a colonialism mindset about it. Please understand that. And make offerings to the land. Respect the land. Ask permission. The land itself, not just the plant, the land. Because if you don't live there in that region, and I don't know how far out you take this. I think if it's your neighborhood and it's basically if you're familiar with the land and the land is familiar with you, then it's going to offer you medicine. But when you step outside of your territory into an unfamiliar territory, first off, your vibrations may not even be compatible with that. So you might meditate ahead of time if you're going to do that. Like if you're going to go on a gathering journey in the wild, you might meditate ahead of time and send your spirit there to bond with the land. Even asking permission like days in advance or a day or hours at least. And that will help smooth this all over. But let's assume you're harvesting from your own place where you live, your own yard or nearby, part of the land. You are part of that land, that vibration. And even if you're not, this applies, by the way. It's important to not only take from the land and from nature, or receive. I like to say receive, because I never want to take, I only want to receive. First of all, here's a lesson. So what that means is, I wait for that feeling, nature gives me that sign, and you'll know, the plants will show themselves to you. It's almost like they say, pick me, eat me, do something with me. And by the way, you do not have to pick, eat, or do anything really, like in terms of removing a plant to receive some of its healing vibrations. You can simply be in the environment with the plant, and especially meditating with the plant, working with the plant energies, drumming near it, rattling, singing, just sitting quietly, maybe softly humming or listening. That's a way to work with plant medicine energy. It doesn't all have to be about ingesting it. I hope you know that, okay? That's why a garden, just to sit in it, to sit in a beautiful garden can be so healing. You visit a friend's garden or you have your own, you just sit in it. Have you noticed how it shifts your vibration? Because plant medicine is not something you just have to physically ingest. Truly, at the fundamental level, plant medicine is the spirit of the plants. I hope you'll meditate on that and think about that. And if it's spirit energy, yes, you know, working with the physical substance can take it into another level, more into the 3D, but it's the spirit of the plant that really heals. So do keep that in mind. But on the other hand, you know, it's nice to have teas from plants that are safe to eat and drink, and it's nice to have, you know, cooked wild greens, or, you know, maybe you've grown tomatoes, maybe you have a whole big giant food garden. And by the way, just because you grew something doesn't mean you own it, okay? You know, the plant owns itself too, so we want to be respectful. So that's all I'm saying. Actually, we want to be courteous and respectful to the plant world. It has a consciousness, it's alive. Each one of these plants, all these trees and wild things and cultivated plants growing around me and around you, they all have consciousness and energy. And, you know, just like us, they want to be treated with respect and courtesy. That's not asking too much, is it? So when you take from your garden or the territory around you, or you're going out to wild harvest, when you take, or when you receive, when you feel the plant giving you permission, when it says, please pick me, and you receive that medicine graciously, you also want to give back. When we take, we give. When we receive, we give. There is a balance. Now, how do you do that? It really just depends. I mean, a simple way to give back to most plants is to give the plant some water. I mean, who doesn't appreciate a fresh glass of water, right? Or a pour of water, a libation. Some people will even give plants wine libations, or beer, or juice. You use your discretion and consider if there are animals around, and especially if there's animals around, you want to make sure that wine or whatever gets into the earth, because you can leave it in a jar, but you know, you don't want the animals, like domestic cats or dogs or whatever, you know, getting drunk on it. So yeah, just maybe pouring it into the earth might be better, even in a wild place. I think it would be. You can sing a song to the plant. I mean, you can simply say thank you, but the idea of giving it something back, if the plant gives you its leaves or its flower or its fruit, you want to give something back. Some of the old herbalists I knew would even do a little spit down on the ground, and I know that sounds disrespectful, but you know, if you don't do it in a disrespectful way, you mix your saliva into the soil. That is a bonding. You could drop a little finger prick of blood. You could do a little honey down into the soil or on the stem, especially if it's wounded. Yeah, it's just some things to think about. How would you give back? Now, water, again, though, I just want to emphasize, you know, giving a little water. If the plant has parts that are kind of burnt up or old and stagnant, you can gently remove those dead parts, so you can prune the plant. You can tend to it like you would a friend or a loved one. You can also take cuttings from the plants if it's in your own garden, and if it's a plant that you can do that with, you can propagate the plant, or you can scatter its seed if it has seed. I feel like the plants really like that when we do that. They also like in a garden, okay, in your territory, the plants in general, the garden especially, the entire garden, it's a holistic system. They like it when you create more plants. So like that's what I've done here, where I've done a cutting off of a basil. I probably should pull back the flowers to let it really grow in the leaves, but it looks so pretty. So this is a new cutting. Doesn't it look lovely? Actually, I grew the roots in water for a week or two, but you don't have to do that. Actually, it depends on the heat, but you can actually just put basil crowns in new dirt and they'll grow usually. And I did use some basil yesterday, but I've just been growing that as a gift to the garden, you know. Now, obviously, if it's winter, you can't do that. The gifts we give back to nature are going to vary also according to the season of the year. So sometimes really cleaning up the garden, or cleaning up the area, even in a wild area especially, Unfortunately, some people will leave trash in wild areas. So, yeah, if you are harvesting from a plant and you see any trash around or dead leaves, or whatever, well, dead leaves might be helpful, but I mean, if there's any debris that does not look helpful, please remove it. That is a gift to the plant. That's part of your sacred covenant in your contract with that plant. Do you know if you take from a plant, you are entering into a contract or a covenant with it? If you receive its vibrations, there is a spiritual bond that begins to happen. So if you don't nurture that bond, that could be detrimental to both you and the plant. I mean, really, anytime we receive without having a spirit of giving, and it doesn't always have to be directly back to who you receive from, but uh, you have to pay it forward, right? And plants will give more to you if they see that you are a giving person, if you do pay it forward, especially if you are giving to nature. Maybe you put out some bird seed. Maybe you do something for the beneficial pollinators or the predators that feed on the other predators, like the spiders, help, get rid of other um, more, dangerous predators for that plant. So just think about that. Think about how you can contribute. It's not a one-sided relationship. There's no such thing as a one-sided relationship. Do you understand that? Like, this is where gardening and herb crafting and magical herbalism, psychic herbalism, plant medicine, all of it, this can be an ecosystem. It is a part of the ecosystem, but it can also be an ecosystem and a microcosm for you to grow spiritually in other areas of your life, to practice. So practice in your relationship with the plants, and that will help you in your relationship with your family and your partners. Think about the balance of giving and receiving. And listen, a lot of you watching this probably need to let yourself receive more. And if that's the case, please do. Whether that's from the plant world or from people in your life or the universe, just receiving, opening yourself up. So this isn't what I'm saying here. It's not saying don't receive, okay? Absolutely receive the healing medicine, receive gifts in life, but be willing to show up in life and give back to life. That's all. Alrighty, well, thank you for watching, and I wish you many happy green adventures, many plant medicine healing adventures as you continue on your journey. Bright blessings.